Hi, Taurus. I hope you guys are doing really, really well. My name is Brian. I am your queer psychic bestie, and I have a reading for you guys today. This is going to be a month at the glance at the month for Taurus for the month of August. I said that backwards. But we will be doing a Celtic cross today, Taurus, and we're just going to be taking a look at your month. What's going on? What do you need to know? What's coming in for you? What's the month here to show you? All those good things, okay? As always, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. This is the internet, so we're connecting with a lot of different energies, right? So just take what resonates for you and leave what does not. Okay. If you would like to book a personal reading with me, you could do that through email or form submission on my website. All right. Let's see what's going on for you, Taurus. We'll be doing a Celtic cross. I think I said that already. We'll be doing a Celtic cross today. So we've just got to get a few more cards out, and then we're going to dive in. Can I get an outcome, please? An outcome, please. Thank you. Very common outcome this month. A lot of signs have been getting this card as their outcome. I'm going to get a second one just because I'm curious. Okay, interesting. Interesting, Taurus. All right, let's dive in. Let's get into it. Bottom of the deck is your challenge. Represents what you're not seeing, what you're not looking at. We've got the Five of Pentacles, we've got the Four of Pentacles, and we've also got the Four of Swords. And the Four of Wands. Okay, 444 is crazy. Repeating numbers are probably going to be important for you this month, especially with the 3 4s in a row. I mean, I've shuffled this deck how many times now? And then the Five of Pentacles. So what I think is really interesting about your challenge, Taurus, is that it feels like some of you guys may be struggling with an ending, or maybe struggling with maybe not specifically an ending, but I almost feel like some of you guys are leaving an idea behind. This is an interesting energy that's coming through. You know, it's kind of like for some of you guys, like you're scrapping an idea here. I feel like you had an idea at one point of where you wanted to go with something, and now you're kind of like, okay, this isn't working, so let's scrap it a little bit. Um, Again, very interesting with the triple fours. So, four could be important. April could be important. Um, yeah, interesting. Three of Cups is also back there. 3, 4, 5. Interesting. Very interesting, Taurus. I would pay attention to synchronicities this month. You're probably going to be getting a lot of, intuitive hits through synchronicities, through repeating numbers, through things just kind of like showing up the same way over and over and over again to kind of get your attention. So let's dive in. Let's see what's going on. You start right off the bat with the King of Swords. So this is masculine air energy. It feels like right off the bat for August, you are very focused on strategizing. You know, when we're talking about King of Swords, we are talking about stepping into our like mental strength. This is like using our mental faculties. It's a very cerebral card. You know, the King of Swords, he's a really good planner. They're really good at, there's no gender and energy have no place with one another, okay? Anyone can be anything here. King of Swords is a really good planner, really good executioner, not literally. They can execute a plan really well. This is your friend that's always kind of prepared for every option. They have an A, B, C, D, E, F, G plan. This is like someone who really likes organization itineraries. And so it feels like with that as your current energy source, it feels like you are trying to be a little bit more, yeah, what is this word that my guys are trying to give me? Not why it's like right there and I just can't grab it. It's not malicious. That's not the word I'm trying to grab. Meticulous. Thank you. I was like, I see it. I can't grab it. It feels like you guys are being very meticulous this month, dotting your I's, crossing your T's. Because your crossing card, which I think is interesting, is the Three of Swords. So The crossing card in a Celtic cross is either a help or a hindrance. Babe, this is a big hindrance. Three of Swords is heartbreak and devastation. I feel like for some of you guys here, it's like you're trying to, I almost want to say like working, it's like you're trying to work through the pain here. Like I said in the beginning, it feels like your challenge is about like scrapping an idea. So you may be a little bit more upset about this than you're really leading on. You know, with that Three of Swords there is there's a lot of hurt in this reading, you know. Maybe letting go of this idea or like an original plan. I also just heard maybe letting go of this is a lot more painful for you than you thought. For some of you also, I'm hearing that like you sank a lot of resources into this. Yeah, Knight of Swords. It's like for some of you guys, I feel like you could have been doing something or like rushing into something with like a certain idea or like looking for a certain outcome. And when it didn't bear fruit, a lot of you guys took it very personally. Yeah, you've got the Knight of Swords with the High Priestess, the Empress, and the Eight of Cups. It's almost like for some of you guys, you saw this ending coming, or like you saw that this idea, this option, whatever this was, you knew it wasn't going to like pan out. I'm going to be quick with how I show you these because it does affect the shade of the camera. So if I hold these in front of the camera for too long, the whole video is going to be neon pink if we're not careful. So just be aware of that. If it looks like I'm like drive-by showing it to you, that's why. But yeah, it feels like a lot of you guys are a little bit more upset about this than you thought. And I feel like sometimes the knowledge of knowing something is going to happen, it doesn't really make it better when it happens, right? You know, recently, I'm sure you guys saw I made a post about it. Like for the past 6 months, I kept getting this intuitive, whether or not it was intuitive or a message from like my own past loved ones for like 6 months being like, you're gonna have to put your cat down. Just randomly, I'd be out at the grocery store looking at onions or like vegetables, and I would just hear like, oh my god, you're gonna have to put your cat down. And I was always like, oh my god, this is like horrible. And I thought that, turns out she had cancer. I thought that having all that notice and preparation time would help me process it, and it did to an extent, but it doesn't erase the grief. Okay, for a lot of you guys, regardless of whether or not this is connected to the loss of an animal, like I said, that's just an example. I don't think that I don't think you guys have lost an animal. You know, I feel like in some ways you thought it would make it better by knowing, like, there's a sense of like, oh, if I have the knowledge, it won't hurt as much. And I feel like a lot of you guys are realizing here that it does hurt. You know, this is a moment where I'm going to tell you to be really gentle with yourselves and like practice radical self-acceptance this month and being like, okay, like I saw this coming, but it still hurts and I'm still going to grieve it, okay? Because in your headspace, you've got the Page of Cups. I do feel like some of you guys, I will caution you a little bit here about moving forward too fast. Feels like some of you guys are trying to, how do I say this? It's like fill the void by moving into some sort of new role or new activity very fast. And I feel like your guides are kind of like, wait, you need to grieve. Like, you need to sit down and process. This is not, you're not going to actually be helping yourself here if you just kind of roll right past this and roll into the next activity, right? There's no real, we're not feeling our emotion when we're doing that. We're just kind of like, how do I say it? The movie my guides are giving this to me is funny. It's like paper macheing over it. You know, it's like putting a fresh coat of paint on mold. You know, like there's a real problem there. There's like grief. There's like emotions that you have to process, and you're just kind of painting over it and being like, oh, it's fine. I'll move on. All right, Taurus, be a little bit kinder with yourself this month and move a little bit slower, okay? You've got the Hanged Man, the Ten of Swords, and the Seven of Cups. Yeah. I think for a lot of you also there is that moment of like, okay, I thought this was going to work out and it isn't. So now what do I do? Like, what's my next option here? And I feel like for some of you guys, it's almost like you need to let this come to a clean end first, before you can even really start thinking about the next option. You know, that's like, let's say you have a business and you're closing it down to open a new business. That first business has to be, that chapter has to be closed, like books closed, everything done, until you can even think about opening that new business. Like, for instance, when I left, a lot of you know, I relocated from New York to Pennsylvania. And when I left New York, I had to close my hair salon down. I used to be a hairdresser. And I had to do all that paperwork and all the government work first, make sure it was like completely closed and settled before I could open up readings with Brian. You know, it was like a moment of like, it has to come to a clean end. And I feel like some of you guys need to understand that for whatever this is that I'm talking about here, it has to come to a clean end before you can move on to the next thing. Because even in your physical world, you have the moon. I do feel like with the moon, some of you guys are a little unsure of where you're going. Yeah, Three of Swords, babe. You gotta heal. You know, with the moon, I feel like some of you guys are a little bit, you still don't really know where you're going. You're unsure of where the road is going to take you here, which is totally okay. You know, I spent many years of my life telling myself I don't know where I'm going, but I'm not stopping. And so it feels like you're kind of in that same exact energy here, Taurus, where you're like, okay, like I don't really know what's going on. I'm not sure what the future holds for me, but I'm going to keep going. You may worry a lot. You could be like a chronic worrier. Yeah, I feel like you guys are really worried about this. For some of you, this could be work. Maybe this is a business for you. Six of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles, and the Devil. I feel like for some of you guys, whatever this shift is, it may affect your money. It may affect the way that you are doing business or conducting yourself here. Maybe it's your job. And I feel like with that Devil and the Nine of Pentacles, I think some of you guys are really in this place of, am I going to be able to remain self-sufficient here? You know, like, am I going to be able to pay my bills, do my things, keep everything tidy, neat, organized, and still do it? I feel like this is a yes. I don't see really any sort of hiccups here for you, Taurus. I don't see anything really going wrong. I just see you panicking a little bit. Okay? So I feel like with that Six of Pentacles and the Nine of Pentacles, whatever you're doing, people want it. They want a piece of it. They want a slice of it. I don't think whatever this shift is that's coming in for you is going to like bomb your popularity with people. I don't know why it's coming through like that. Okay, so allow allow things to come to a clean end with the knowledge that it will not stop you. You will just move on to the next and keep going. Okay, in the past here, you do have justice. So there could have been legal matters here for you. This could also be karma played a role in the past here. For some of you, if this was like a business ownership thing, there was like a legal work here that had to be done, as is with any business ownership. But I feel like for a lot of you guys, this is just kind of like, oh, okay, thank you. One of my guys just said to me, some of you think you ran out of luck, like you used it all to get whatever this was going in the past. I do not feel that that is the case at all, guys. King of Wands. Luck is not a finite resource, babe, okay? Yeah, Eight of Wands and the Knight of Wands. Wow, a lot of wands, a lot of passion, a lot of passion projects. You know, whatever this was in the past here, babe, it was born out of a passion project. It was born out of, the way my guys are saying this to me is like relentless pursuit of your goals. This feels really, really positive in the past. Like you worked really hard. And I feel like regardless of whether or not this thing is coming to an end, you learned so much and you were able to do and get so much done because of this that I feel like you owe it to yourself to give yourself a little bit more credit here, right? You know, I feel like with that King of Wands, some of you are also worried that your passion is running out. I don't get that either. I think a lot of you guys are just kind of stuck in your own head right now. You know, I feel like you're just kind of, maybe that's why, like, I went into this reading and it's funny because before the reading began, my guides were like, speak a little softer for this reading. So I'm like really trying to modulate my voice for this reading. And I don't know if it's because you guys are feeling a little extra fragile this month. But it feels like you are really underestimating yourself. And I feel like a lot of you guys need to acknowledge just how powerful you are and just how, self sufficient and interesting word to come through, how much chutzpah you're putting behind things. Um, yeah, you do have a strong passion drive here, and I'm not talking about romance, and I feel like you guys just are stuck in this place of everything is a finite resource. Like, I can only give X amount of everything before I run out. Please remember that emotions, passions, drive, all of these things are resources that are infinite. Okay, you are not going to run out of luck. You're not going to run out of passion. I mean, sometimes we lose passion. If we lose passion for a topic, that's not the same thing as running out of it. Okay, that's like we're moving on from one to another, which is very similar to what I feel like is going on for you this month, Taurus. Okay, because in your near future, you have the Ace of Wands. Like I said, you're not losing that passion. Ace of Wands is new passion. It's new excitement. It is the fire. It's burning underneath you. You're passionate about this. Okay, so like you gotta stop thinking that you're not, that you're running out, your time's running out, your passion's running out. All of these things are just self-limiting beliefs, babe. Okay, it's just your brain kind of, lying to you, playing a trick on you. Yeah, you've got the star here. Whatever this is, Taurus, it feels like you're being viewed by other people right now. You may work in the public eye. You may deal with people, see people. But you're birthing something really beautiful here. Queen of Pentacles, Ace of Wands, and the Star. Some of you guys, the stars are really aligning. A lot of your guides are stepping in to give you a hand here. With that Queen of Pentacles, I don't necessarily feel this as like maybe you're a mom. You don't have to be. It's a mom card for me, but this doesn't feel like mom. This feels like I am birthing. I am nurturing. I am building from the ground up. The Queen of Pentacles can also be like kind of like a grassroots card. She tends to the garden all by herself and she grows everything by herself. She has enough to sustain everything and everyone in that garden. With that Ace of Wands and the Star, I feel like some of you guys need to get comfortable with being seen, is how my guides are giving this to me. Hold on. Sorry, my throat is hurting. The allergies and the amount of talking I've been doing recently, not mixing well with my throat. I really do feel like you guys are in a really good spot moving into the future here. I see a lot of positive movement forward for you and a lot of progression, but you have to be comfortable being seen. You have to be comfortable, like, if you're in the public eye, you're in the public eye, babe, It's like I did, some of you know I used to be on TikTok a lot, and I did a tattoo convention once, and I got recognized a lot. A lot of people stopped to be like, oh my God, you're on TikTok. And it was like a really surreal thing. Like, it was really weird to be like, yeah, I am. So like it's one of those moments for you guys, for Taurus. You guys have to understand that if you're working in the public eye, if you're on the internet, if you're creating content on the internet, whatever this is, like, you're going to be recognized. Okay, this is not a bad thing. Don't shy away from it, okay? How you view yourself is the devil. Some of you could have Capricorn in your charts as well. But with that devil, I do feel like some of you guys are recognizing that you've outgrown whatever this is that you're walking away from. The devil is like chains that hold us back, things that we can't escape from. So it does sort of feel like, it's almost like I want to say over it. Sorry, again, allergies are killing me. I feel like a lot of you guys are just kind of tired of it. You're like, okay, this is, yeah, judgment. Whatever this is going on for your life in August, Taurus, you're making some decisions. You're making some calls here, and I feel like you're leaving things behind, especially if you're recognizing that it's not for you anymore. Yeah, Judgment, Two of Pentacles, and Strength. Um, I feel like for a lot of you guys here, how do I say this? Some of you are recognizing that something that you thought was going to set you free has actually chained you down. Um, that's a very specific message for someone here, but there's this feeling of this was supposed to help me, and now I'm stuck. And I feel like some of you guys, that's where this grief really stems from. You know, I feel like a lot of you guys were really banking on this being long term, or like banking on this being like more positive of an experience than it was. And now you're really navigating the loss of something profound, something that you sunk a lot of energy into, a lot of passion into, and a lot of drive into. And with that strength card, it's taking a lot of inner strength to work through it. You know, it's like kind of watching. This is so. How my guides are giving this to me is interesting. It's like watching a building crumble. You know, when they do those like demolishing videos you sometimes see on the internet, like that's what I'm seeing, like watching the building crumble. If you built that building, it's painful to watch it crumble. I feel like you guys are in that same spot here where you're kind of watching something you built get destroyed so that something new can be put in its place. And even though it is painful, you are not losing the lessons. You learned a lot through this, and you take a lot away with you. I always tell my clients and my collectives, you're not starting over from scratch. You're starting from experience. Okay? Whatever this is that you're leaving behind, you're leaving it behind with all the experience it left you with all the knowledge it imparted upon you. Okay? Your superpower is the Eight of Pentacles. You know, Taurus, if there's anything an earth sign is good at, it's really putting the pedal to the metal and charging forward, you know, in their work. You know, it's money, it's career. Taurus tends to be very good with like just work stuff, and like managing responsibilities is almost what I want to say here. And so with the Eight of Pentacles as your superpower, I do feel like some of you guys are underestimating yourselves a little bit. You know, you're like, oh, I don't have the strength, or I don't have this. Yes, you do, babe. I said that to you earlier. I'm going to say it again. You are perfectly capable of this. You do have a good willpower. You have a very good gauge for when to push it and when to push back, or when to pull back. And this is one of those moments where I feel like you are ready to push forward. Yeah. Page of Wands with the Ten of Pentacles. And Justice. Wow. Some of you could have Libra in your chart. Justice is here twice. Wow. Justice, Ten of Pentacles, Page of Wands. A lot of you are very future-minded right now. It feels like you may be letting go of something, but you're not letting that kind of like dirty the lens at which you're looking at the future, looking towards the future with. And I feel like with that Page of Wands, a lot of you guys are recognizing that wherever this journey has taken you, this has always been the end goal. This has always been what you wanted. It just looks a little different than what you thought it was going to look like. You know, it's like when I left hairdressing, I didn't leave the service industry. I just kind of hopped a cubicle over, right? I'm still in the service industry. I'm still helping people. I'm still giving advice. I'm still, you know, all of these things. And it's like I didn't lose out on any of that. I just took it with me somewhere else, you know. And I feel like with that Page of Wands, a lot of you guys are also just like, there's just deep recognition here. It's deeply recognized within you that you're like, okay, that's why I feel like you're not afraid to plan for the long game here. With that Ten of Pentacles, you're like, okay, this is what I'm going to do for like the rest of my life. And I think that's a really positive place to be, because even that's so funny. This is your superpower, and your hope is Page of Wands. Page of Wands, Page of Wands. You're already doing it, babe. You're hoping that you do have all these traits to build your empire and execute your plan here and do the things that you want. And you're hoping but it's already here. You know, you're doing the work. You're showing up. You're putting the blood, sweat, and tears in. This is a really positive reading, Taurus. You know, maybe you are feeling a bit fragile because of all of this, but I promise you, you guys are really putting pen to paper here, and you're cooking, okay? You know, what the kids say on the internets now, let them cook. You're cooking, babe. The Emperor and the Three of Swords, but there's still some heartbreak here for you to process. Okay, I think that's why you're hesitating. Yeah, Three of Pentacles. 3-3. Interesting. Repeating numbers, like I said. It feels like with the Emperor, the Three of Swords, and the Three of Pentacles here, you know, you have to grieve the loss of something first before you can jump into something else. Like I said, this is like if you had a relationship that ended, you'd have to grieve the loss of that relationship before you can kind of jump into the next one, right? We all know that if you don't process the loss of a relationship and then you go into the next one, it doesn't really end very well for us, right? I feel like with this Three of Pentacles here and the Three of Swords and the Emperor, it's literally like I feel like there's a pause. Like I'm being paused, but I also feel like your guides are telling you to pause, take a seat, take a rest. Okay, you cannot expect, the way my guides are saying this, is to just get back up and go back at it. Okay, sometimes the world knocks us down. If you think of like a boxing match, sometimes we get a fist in the face and we get knocked down and we have to take a seat and you have to pull it together and you have to recuperate for a minute and 2 minutes before you get back in the ring. Okay, this is that moment for you guys. Sit down, recuperate, grieve what was lost here before you get back up and do something else. Okay, because your outcome is the Seven of Swords and the King of Wands. What I think is interesting here is that there's almost this feeling of people aren't expecting it. You know, like I feel like Seven of Swords, King of Cups, King of Wands. Oh my God, I can't read. You know, King of Wands, you're moving forward with a lot of passion, but with that Seven of Swords, I do feel like you are doing it a bit more low key. I don't think you're kind of going at this in a very public way. I think you're doing it more so from this place of, I'm going to do what's best for me, and I'm only going to tell the people that need to know around me. And I feel like this is going to shock some people. I don't know. That's just like what I'm getting. Like, there's going to be some people that are like, how did you pull that off? I didn't even know you were doing it. You know? Huh. Interesting. I just think it's going to take some people by surprise, is really what I want to say here. Yeah, the World, the Page of Swords, and the Ace of Cups. I don't think this is a bad thing. I don't think people are going to dog on you for this. I don't think anyone's going to really be negative about this. It just almost feels like it comes out of nowhere. You know, like I said, I think you guys are going to take some time to heal. I feel like you're going to take some time to pause, rest, relax, recuperate, pull it together. And then once you come out of that sort of like healing cocoon, I feel like some of you guys are just going to be slinging it. You know, there's a lot of success coming in for you. And I think that's like what's going to shock people here. Okay. Like I said, I don't see you getting hate. I don't see anything like that. I just think it's going to shock people a little bit. Interesting. Okay, let's get you guys an oracle card. I'm just cleaning up my workspace. I've been really bad with cleaning up like my cards after I do a reading, and then I finish the reading and I'm like disorganized because I left my desk a mess. You guys can't see what my desk looks like, but when I read cards, they're like fucking everywhere. They're like cards that are like, they're just, I'm very bad at keeping it organized on the desk. But okay, let's get you an oracle card. This is the Angelarium. This is my favorite oracle deck to date, so we will be using it. It is a reimagining of the Falling of the Angels. All right, let's see. What does Taurus need to know? What's the advice for Taurus for August, please? Taurus for August, please. They're being stubborn. Thank you. When more than one card comes out, I'm like, no, one at a time, one only. Thank you. Okay. Interesting. You guys have Sariel, Angel of the Waning Moon. Very interesting. Let's read it. If I could find it. Oh, I passed it. Okay, 29. You know when you're reading and you're like looking for something and you pass right over it, you don't even see it. Yeah. With hunger comes the claws of desperation. If you have drawn this card, it should be a sign that you are waiting for something. Though your mind wanders, a single shard remains fixed, focused, and waiting. What is at the root of your fixation? Without answering this question, you may be unable to control the part of you that obsesses over that fixation. This card always reminds me that once we've crossed that threshold into obsession, there's no coming back from that. Obsession is all consuming and it's unhealthy. Okay? So, Taurus, I leave you with that. That is your August monthly forecast, guys. If this reading resonates with you, or if my reading style happens to resonate with you, do consider liking and subscribing. We are on the way to 200 subscribers, which is exciting. If you guys would like to interact with me on a live basis, I do go live 3 days a week on Twitch. You can find me Wednesday and Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. EST, as well as Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m. EST. I do also have a Discord server that is a community hub that is open for everyone. If you do tune in on a Twitch day, it is always there. It's just a really supportive group of people just coming together. So if you're interested in that, you know where to find me. And Taurus, I hope to see you over on Twitch one day. And if not, it's okay. I will catch you in the next video. All right? Bye.